live streaming the NAM tonight, are we not?
Well, everybody's been waiting. We're now inside that 84-hour envelope. The storm is still actually a couple of days away, and people are still wondering, Joe, what exactly we're going to see. And so we're waiting to see the first round of computer information with the NAM right now.
Right, we're at the point now where we sort of have an I've had this idea in my head of where I think this is going to wind up, and we'll see if it winds up being correct. Let me just emphasize a couple of things. First off, he's Joe Rao, Fios 1 News, Lower Hudson Valley.
Joe Cioffi, Fios 1 News, New Jersey, and also Long Island.
And we, as far as the snow is concerned from this, I don't think it's going to be a huge problem with the kind of amounts we're going for, unless we get some crazy amount of upside. I think the thump, there's going to be a front end thump of snow Saturday evening into the first part of Saturday night, a gradual change to sleet. The bigger question to me is, where does that freezing line get? Because it's only going to get so far north and then crash southward Sunday morning, and that means that somebody could be in line for some potentially serious icing. And then we've got the sleet, freezing, rain question, which is another thing.
Right. And right now we're thinking that we have been talking about the snow starting everywhere sometime in the 4 to 7 o'clock time frame, and it looks like I got a glimpse of the opening stages of the NAM, and it seems like we're right on target with that, Joe.
All right, so Joe, before we even get to that, we'll let a few more frames of the NAM come out, and this is what I went for forecast-wise. Where did I put it? There it goes.
There we go.
All right, and I'm talking. I kind of lined up the southern edge of 2 from Sandy Hook to Trenton, north of Philadelphia, southwestward. And then just north of New York City, across northern New Jersey, I have the northern edge of 5 that maybe runs to Putnam County, south of Route 84 in Connecticut, and then 5 to 8 going north of there. Actually, I feel better from a forecast standpoint. I have more confidence in the numbers getting hit further north than I do further south, because I think the further south issue is, how fast does that warm air come in, or doesn't come in? And that's going to impact numbers.
Or as they say at the Weather Service, the warm nose.
Yes,
so to speak.
And thumps are a tough thing. Sometimes they overproduce, like the one in November, and there have been a number of systems like that along the way over the years. There have been others that look like they're going to overproduce, and then suddenly you wind up getting about half of what you're forecast. But the big issue for me really is the possibility of some the ice situation.
Right. And let's
and here's the ice. This is from Upton. How much they're forecasting for ice.
And again, what we're talking about now is, and the Weather Prediction Center in Washington was talking about this too, the difference between sleet and freezing rain.
Whoops, I'm sorry, Joe. Hang on one second. Here's the ice map. There you go.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they were talking about the difference between sleet. Of course, sleet, that's rain that comes down and falls to a shallow layer of very cold air, and literally a little ball of ice that hits the ground, bounces a bit. Freezing rain, of course, is when that precipitation comes down in liquid form. Doesn't really freeze; it just comes down in liquid form, hits a colder layer on the surface, and freezes immediately and causes kind of a slippery glaze. And we may see that in places during the course of the day on Sunday, especially. This is especially true after ironically, after the storm has moved on by, Joe.
Right.
The residual moisture that's on some roadways, for example, with the rapidly falling temperatures, could actually freeze up and cause areas of black ice. It could cause some rather treacherous travel.
Right. I mean, we looked at some sounding temperatures in the morning down near the coast, for example, where it could be somewhere between 32 and 35, 36, dropping to 9 or 10 degrees in 6 hours by the time we get to noontime or 1 o'clock. I just realized, Joe, I didn't have the window open, so I just want to show everybody this was my forecast that I put up in my early call so you can look at the geography. By the way, this is probably a good time to mention, I appreciate the fact that you asked my opinion with regards to snow amounts, but I can't zip code forecast, okay? So you got to kind of know where you are on a map. It's pretty basic. So, and I put a lot of posts up during the day and over the last couple of days, and I can't get over that people will then ask me, well, how much snow are we going to get? It's right there in front of you. I put it there. I give you the Weather Service maps, etc., etc. You gotta click on the links, folks. That's just the way it works. So that's the map for you, and you got to know where you are on the on a map. And sorry, end of lecture, but I had to bring that up.
And what we're looking at, Joe, I think we were talking about this on the YouTube show. The thump, the initial shot of moisture interacting with that cold air is probably what's going to lead to, for the most part.
Most of this will be right. The thump from that first burst Saturday evening. That's going to last however many hours that it lasts. All right, you ready to do the NAM?
Okay.
All right. So you know what? This is the old one. Just to review. So we've got the first system that's coming through tonight. I did notice on the HRRR models got more echoes overnight. So this widening coating to maybe an inch or so was probably still doable. The last run, you see that area, the snow that comes in came in a little faster, changes over to sleet, some freezing rain. Then the low goes by. This is at 10 o'clock Sunday morning. Changes back to snow in the Hudson Valley. It changes to sleet over Long Island, and then it's done, according to the NAM anyway. So back up, and now we'll get the new one.
Okay.
Oh, the drama is just insane, Joe. I don't know how we, really.
That's 18Z. Where's 0Z?
There it is.
There you go.
Okay. So one of the things that actually it loaded it almost to the end, so I rolled it back fast. I didn't see what it did. All right, so let's take a look. There's been a tendency for weather systems so far that we've seen in this winter to kind of want to go off somewhere off the Virginia coast, like the one tonight, as weak as it is. And this was a system that was actually modeled, especially by the global models, to move through upstate New York and over into northern Maine. So there's something going on that maybe it's impacting the global models. I don't know. But here's the next system. This is Saturday morning at 7 a.m. right there. Snowing in Chicago, Detroit, moving into Ohio. The low is in western Tennessee. Now it's moving eastward. Looks like it's south of Nashville. This might be a little bit further south than the previous run, Joe, because now it's got snow back into western Maryland. Okay. Ready to hit the next arrow key?
Oh, sure.
No.
Oh, you want me to do it? Or?
I'm nervous. I don't know. Ready? All right, so now this is at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Here's 4 o'clock Saturday, and now 7 o'clock. So you got the low in eastern Kentucky. Looks like it's snowing through all of Pennsylvania, at least the northern half of New Jersey, and into western Long Island. Okay. So that's at 7 o'clock. So it's a little faster.
Okay.
Now here's a change, Joe, because on the last run it had the sleet already to Long Island and New York City, and it's got dark blue snow now over Long Island and down in central New Jersey. So it looks like this runs a little colder, and it looks like the isobars are pointing toward Delaware and to our south. So that's going to be important. All right, now we go to 1 a.m. Sleet everywhere. Heavy sleet.
Right.
When I say everywhere, I'm sorry. The Hudson Valley still snow.
Right.
Okay, so that's 1 a.m. The low's in central Virginia. 4 a.m. Look at this. Look at the north, the sleet there, northern New Jersey, just north of the city, and into Connecticut. Long Island looks like it's in rain at this point.
Right.
And it's back to sleet at 7 a.m. It's actually a little bit faster.
Right.
So very interesting. And then it's done.
It's over.
It's over.
It's over by
so
when?
It's so, you know what, Joe? It's coming in faster and probably a little flatter in terms of the overall upper flow.
Yeah.
That you're getting this colder solution. So let's do this. All right. So we know that we have snow here from 7 to 10 o'clock, and then it goes to sleep by 1 a.m. So let's take a look at the precip.
Could we close in on the make it the northeast? Make it a little.
Oh yeah, we'll get close up.
There you go. Now that's a little bit easier on the eyes.
So this is at 10 o'clock now, and yeah, I mean it's snowing down even into southern Monmouth County on this.
Right.
Just to show a comparison, this was the last. Let's go 2 runs back. Same time frame. Raining on Long Island with some sleet. Raining through most of New Jersey. 18Z. You know, about the same.
Right.
And now the difference between that and 0Z. So the weenies must be jumping up and down at this point. It's got a colder look to it. It definitely has a colder look to it.
The heavier snow, at least as of this is what, 10 p.m. or 10 p.m. So the heaviest snow seems to be like over Long Island and central New Jersey, up where I am, up in Putnam County. There's snow, but it's like a lighter type of snow at this particular moment in time.
All right, and now we'll go. That's at 1 o'clock.
Now at 1 o'clock, if this is correct, the area of freezing precipitation is just off to my south.
And it looks like northern Nassau, there's some purple there in northern Suffolk. Somebody's getting heavy sleet in here.
Right.
And all of the northern half of New Jersey's at sleet.
Right.
Into eastern PA, from Allentown probably northward, Trenton northward in New Jersey. All right. So this is...
And the sleet, obviously, after you get your initial shot of snow, the sleet is obviously going to hold down accumulations in places that get there.
Oh, we forgot.
What happened?
The foos.
The foos!
The foos!
The foos!
Get the foos! Get the foos!
Yes.
He's getting the foos!
Yes.
All right, hold on. While you're doing that, Joe, I'm going to throw out some numbers to you. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
So, as of 1 through 1 a.m., the Hudson Valley, most of the Hudson Valley, east of the Hudson, gets between 1/2 and 3/4 of an inch of liquid. West of the Hudson, between 3/4 of an inch to an inch. 3/4 of an inch to an inch for northern New Jersey north of 78. 3/4 of an inch to an inch from, say, the Nassau-Suffolk line, or almost actually a little bit further east than that. So let's say the Saginaw Coast Parkway on Long Island westward gets between 3/4 of an inch to an inch.
Okay.
I want to look at one really important thing in my mind is I'm going to pull up the positive snow growth map, and you know what? This kind of lines up with this. Actually, this map doesn't look half bad in terms of making sense, because it's got a stripe of 2, 3 to 4 inches in northern New Jersey, north of 195, and over Long Island, which I think is certainly possible if this the NAM verifies. And then you got the 6-inch line north and west of there. And the other thing I want to look at is the temperature profile, because I'm really curious about that 32-degree line, because that's so important. And at 1 o'clock in the morning, the temperature, the 32-degree line cuts Long Island on a diagonal. Looks like it goes down to South Brooklyn to about Staten Island. At 4 a.m., it's just about, we're moving through the city at 4 a.m. Between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m., Joe, it moves southeast. It pivots southeast, and the 25-degree line is down to Manhattan. So it says that just about everybody stays below freezing except the immediate coast, and even there it may only be for a few hours.
Well, LaGuardia Airport at 7 o'clock Saturday evening has this is a boundary temperature now, boundary level temperature, a T1 of 98.
-2.
-2.
Okay.
At 1 a.m. it's -2, and at 7 a.m. it dips to -3. It never at LaGuardia Airport goes to 0 or above at the lowest level of the atmosphere.
So, okay.
And the thicknesses climb to 546. That's the highest it goes at 1 o'clock in the morning at LaGuardia, and then it begins to drop back to 543 by 7 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Okay, 2 questions. First off, the T1, T2, and T3 at 1 o'clock in the morning at LaGuardia?
T1 is -2.
Okay.
T2 is 0.
Okay.
T3 is +3.
All right, so that's sleet. You think?
Right.
Okay, so that would be sleet. All right. and at 4 a.m. the T1, T2, 3, 3.
They give it at 6.
I'm sorry, 7 a.m.
At 7 a.m. it's -3 at T1, +1 at T2, and +1 at T3.
Okay, so what Joe's giving us the numbers. The numbers he's given are temperatures for 3 levels of the atmosphere as we move up. I forgot what the actual how many feet how far up the T1 is. Is it 900 millibars?
I think it's 900.
900, and T2 is 800.
I think it's 9 and 8
and 7. Is that
7,
what it is? Okay. Now, Joe, I'm looking at the 850. The 0 at 850 barely gets north of White Plains by 1 o'clock in the morning before it actually gets at 1 o'clock in the morning. At 4 a.m. it gets a little bit further north, and then it starts to pivot and collapse. So the 0 line to me, that's where the best chances for people that are going to get 6+ are going to be north of that 0 line, and that would suggest that 6+ through 1 a.m. is not that far north and west of the coast. So I think the snow amounts probably look pretty good based on this NAM run. The other question I have, Joe, is how much precip did it give at LaGuardia?
Oh, I was waiting for you to ask me that. At 48 hours, at 7 p.m., we've already picked up 3/100ths of an inch. Between 7 p.m. and 1 a.m. Sunday morning, 0.71 at
wow.
LaGuardia. And then from 1 a.m. to 7 a.m., 0.63.
Boy, that's an inch and a third.
That's
1.3. So
that's 1.34.
I'm liking my forecast amounts right now. I think they're working. I think they work.
And the highest vertical motion is at 54 hours. It's 1 o'clock a.m. plus 8.5, and then it drops back by 7 a.m. to only 0.04. So the main or the most robust period, based upon vertical motion, vertical velocity, the time when we're getting the thump, the big thump, probably from just eyeballing this, would be sometime between about 10 or 11 o'clock to about 4 or 5 a.m. That's when I think we'll be seeing the majority of that activity. That could be when we're getting either at least an inch or two an hour of snow or something.
So the other issue I want to, because we're coming up at the top of the hour soon, but I wanted to touch on this is, of course, after this is all done, is the bitter cold air that comes in. So I'm just going to take it to Monday morning, where it has, just going by the isotherm, by the contour here on the NAM, the -5, Joe, 5 below 0, northwest New Jersey to Poughkeepsie, to 84 on the Connecticut side.
Wow.
That's where the -5 is. The 0 is somewhere across Hunterdon County, right through the Bronx, White Plains, or just south of White Plains, along the Connecticut coast, and +5 is cutting across Long Island. So we're really talking here, bitter cold air that's coming down. There's behind this, and particularly if we're seeing a colder solution, meaning that the low might be taking a slightly more of an offshore, a bit more of an east track, or a bit further south and east, but it sets up that wind that comes down from northeastern Canada,
right?
And that's how we get some of our coldest temperatures.
Well, right now, when looking for the 10 o'clock show, or my 10 o'clock show, the temperature at Caribou, Maine, Joe, is 7 below 0 right now. Ooh. That is where our air is going to be delivered from, behind the storm, when we get to later Sunday night, and Monday.
All right, we got a nice crowd tonight, 248 folks. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. So let me just set you up on a couple of things. First off, if you want additional information, I got a bunch of posts up on meteorologistjoecioffi.com. I'm sure if you're a regular, you've seen them all day. I have my weather platform on Patreon. There's been additional coverage on there, including extra live streams during the day just for Patreon members. So I'm going to put the link up here. And you can take advantage of that if you'd like, but it's a subscription site. It's just $2 a month. There's a nice group. We have about 200 weather people there, 200 people there that are interested in weather. So if you're interested in weather, I think you'll really enjoy it. The other thing is, those of you who have my app, for Android. If you've got an Android device, I've noticed that a lot of you have hit the download app link on my Facebook page, which is great. But if you haven't, here it is, and you can download it. The app is absolutely free. So go ahead and take advantage of that.
Get it? You get it? The app is absolutely free.
Okay,
yeah.
yes. I didn't intend to do that, by the way.
Well.
Okay, so you've got your show coming up.
10 o'clock. We have the FiOS 1 weather for the lower Hudson Valley, and of course, you have.
I've got Long Island and New Jersey. You and I will be back tomorrow. We've got 2 live streams tomorrow. We'll be live streaming on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Joe Cioffi, at 7:05 Eastern Time, and that's a long show. Sometimes we go over an hour, and
I have a feeling we'll go over an hour tomorrow night.
Yeah, and then we're going to come back and tomorrow night at about 9:25 and
do another live.
And do our live another exciting, revealing live streaming of the NAM.
Absolutely,
everybody's favorite model.
All of a sudden, yeah. As I said earlier on the YouTube channel, the NAM seems to be the model of choice, and if indeed it is correct, we've got quite a couple of days coming up ahead of us.
Brian Fitzgerald will be here tomorrow morning on FiOS 1 News, Long Island, New Jersey, and the Hudson Valley, and the lower Hudson Valley. Brittany Bohr and Addison Green here on midday, and Joe and I will be here tomorrow evening. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.